Hey Armin, nice to have you on the call and willing to share this experience. I just have a couple questions for you. How you doing, man?
Hey Mo, I'm doing wonderful. Happy to be here.
Awesome, awesome. So Armin, first question for you. So before you started with our accelerator program, what was your situation like? What were you doing?
Yeah, so I was doing a lot of contract work, a lot of fractional work. I had been an exec for some time, but had a difficulty finding both time, but also success in finding the right organizations that needed someone with my skill set. So I ended up working for a lot of startups.
Got it. So you were in like big corporations first, and then you went into startup in more leadership capacity. And you mentioned that you're working for fractional roles, right? So what challenges did you have like when you were trying to pivot roles? Was it just the time, or was that something else like the strategy as well? Or
Fascinatingly enough, I have a career that's based on a lot of like good fortune, right? Impressing the right people at the right time, and they bring me along to big jobs, big promotions, and different companies. So the first time in my career was this past year when I went out on my own and tried to make my own way. And I found it really difficult because as somebody, even though I'm a younger executive, I am still to some degree, far removed from the job hunt. So knowing the best practice around resume building and the framing up of your story and knowing, the adequate ways to be able to research and find the cutting edge organizations and knowing how to prepare for these interviews in a manner that's, modern and fitting of modern recruiting standards. This was all new motions for me. I had just a great successful track record when it comes to doing the work and being in the role, but not finding the role. So I needed some help, and that's where I reached out.
perfect, perfect. So you had some issues with like finding the right strategy and also the time to put on all these applications and these methods to get actually the interview. So when you did apply, how many interviews, would you normally get?
I would get on my own when I was applying, I would get maybe one to two interviews, unique interviews with unique companies per month to 2 months. So a very, very bad return rate on all the time I would invest researching and applying, right? It's a very meticulous process. And I would treat it to the best of my abilities like a full-time job, but I also had contracting work on the side. So it was very difficult to find the time to do it,
Yeah.
but to also do it right.
For sure, for sure. Awesome. Okay. So after that, like how did you end up finding out about us?
I started thinking to myself, there's career coaches, right? There's all these people that I can tap into and leverage for everything from negotiation strategies to, bring them in and have them give a whole sales spiel to my sales team to make them better. I thought to myself, there has to be someone out there that specializes in placing, executives. And I knew there were headhunters that hunt for executives, but I did not know there was a opposite side of that coin, which is somebody to represent executives. So I started to do some research and I found you amongst many others, and I had to quickly weed it down to what I deemed to be the best. And that's when I got in touch with you.
Awesome. And I'm glad you said that. So you spoke with like other companies as well. So what made us stand out during the initial like enrollment process? What
Yeah.
made you decide that we were the one that you wanted to trust?
So, and I say this all the time to friends of mine who are in similar scenarios, right? Execs who are too busy or too far removed from
Mm-hmm.
job hunting to know how to go about it. Um, which is your organization, the way you're structured, you have skin in the game, right? Your success is my success and vice versa. Meaning, the way, to be frank, the way you get paid out as an organization is a percentage of my first year salary. So making sure I win and I win at the right job that makes me happy and makes me the best amount of money that, the market values me at is mission critical to you and your team. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the testimonials. So very similarly to conversations like you and I are having right now, that gave me trust because these people were from companies that I've worked at and I trust, such as Adobe, Meta, right? Zoom, like very legitimate, massive organizations with very critical paths as to what they deem a good professional. So that built a lot of trust.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, we decided like for us, we want to make sure we're super result focused. That's why we have that double pricing strategy, right? The initial enrollment to do the actual service with a results guarantee for the minimum number of interviews to make sure, like, hey, this is not something that you're just going to get coaching, but we actually deliver interviews for you as well in this program. And the second way is like, hey, we're going to get you like hopefully a higher paying job. So where, because of that, we get skin in the game from the commission as well. And it becomes a win-win situation for all of us. So Armin, I know, we had tremendous results for you. So you've been working with us for what? Like after the coaching sessions and everything was over, the time we spent on applying for the jobs, sending the cold emails. How did you find all that process and working with the coaches and all of that?
It was incredibly effective. It was almost as though it was on autopilot, right? I had a team for this, which was lovely. We're folks at all levels, whether you're just starting your career or an executive, you have other demands on your schedule, especially if you have a, ongoing job or you have family commitments, you name it. So I was no different. And for me to have a trusted team I could fall back on gave me intense confidence. Mm-hmm. And that's where your organization came in. And this is not my words. This is the words of someone who's become a friend of mine, but the recruiter that landed me my existing role. They told me this was the fastest they had ever gone from initial screening to offer, which was 28 days. It was incredibly impressive. We had over 13 unique interviews, countless more coming that we've started to decline at this point, right? And every bit of it was completely taken off my plate. The emails out, the scheduling, the searching for the right jobs, right? Obviously you did all this with thorough interviews with me. So you understood who I am, what I'm about, what I'm capable of, what my experiences are, and what I'm looking to do next. So you found exactly what I wanted without me needing to babysit the whole process. So it was lovely. It was really, really great. I got to spend that time on other things that were more meaningful to me, yet still have the focused time to come and crush these interviews. And then, the fruits of your labor are multiple offers. So we're in good shape.
Thank you so much. And you know what? Like you were an awesome client as well. The communication was on point. And the times, the interview, the pace you had, like so many of the interviews, you got to the second round, third round, you were evolving fast. And that comes to the testament of you were using the interview coaching sessions with your interview coach, Alex, well. You read the guides that we sent. You were a very coachable client, so thank you for making it easy for us as well. So just to share the screen on your results a little bit so the people who are watching this video can see. I just want to quickly look at like your calendar here. Can you see my screen?
I can, yeah.
Yeah, so this was your calendar over the past month. All of these were interviews with all the candidates. So I must imagine it must have been a hectic schedule for you, like all these interviews, balancing them. How did you feel about that?
It's a good problem to have.
It is.
No one's ever going to complain about, especially being on the job hunt, too many interviews. And these are wonderful organizations, reputable organizations, high-level roles. And they span the gamut because that's what I asked for, right? Which is I wanted enterprise, I wanted midsize, and some startups. So your team delivered on that. And it was... honestly, I would fall behind sometimes in keeping up with, reviewing the list of great companies you'd send my way on a daily basis. So kudos to you and your team for doing such an exceptional job.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. So I know after the 13 interviews, you got the offer that you wanted. So compared to your previous job, was this like a bump increase, salary bump?
Yeah, it was everything I needed, right? It was a positive increase across the board. It provided what folks at my level typically like, which is a combination of equity, bonus that's very competitive, as well as a healthy salary. So it was a nice positive step up. It was wonderful across the board, right? It ended up being a company in the industry I value and want to work in at the right level, the right title, the right responsibility and remit above, the grand side of a nice title. And then the other side of this coin was culture fit, just a brilliant group of people. And none of this would have been possible had your team not found them and started the conversation.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for attributing everything in terms of our responsibilities, your responsibilities. You know, it's a shared success for us. When you win, we win. So we're very glad to see you win. Um, Final question, Armin. Would you recommend our services to other people?
I already have been, and that was before I got my offer. It's a brutal time in industry right now. So whoever's watching this, this is November of 2025. Mass layoffs at great organizations, Amazon, Meta, UPS. I mean, these are well established, very profitable companies, and these are a lot of white collar jobs that are getting that are impacted negatively by these layoffs. So there's a lot of talented people, some of them in my shoes in the sense of being far removed from the job hunting. And your service is going to be mission critical for those that don't have the time to teach themselves all these new skills, as well as the time to stay on top of such an aggressive job hunting culture, which is what we're in now. And then, of course, there's the sprinkling in of the interview coaching and other things that just it's working old muscles that have been dormant for years, right? How to go into an interview and in a non-humble way brag to some degree about your successes. That's kind of difficult to do for a lot of folks. So even that was wonderful for me, just creating a forum for me to practice before I went in and spoke to great people. But without a doubt, I will. I really do believe in this. I'm going to keep in touch with you and the rest of your team because who knows where 4 or 5 years will take life, right? Hopefully I have an exit at my current my current organization. It goes really well, and I'm on to the next one. And everyone, I think, especially at my level, needs a team for things because the impact you want to have requires a set of skills that you need specialists for. And I think that's where you and your team come in.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your experiences, share your results. Very happy with your offer, your the whole journey with us. It has been awesome. Thank you, Armin.
Yeah, thank you for everything. I know I've said it a lot. I'll continue saying it. And anyone watching this, that's how I started. So just have the conversation with the team and see if it's for you. But it certainly worked for me, and I will be a repeat customer. Hopefully, 4 or 5 years from now, not too soon. But absolutely, and thank you again.